Ladies and gentlemen, the long-awaited, highly anticipated, they're back together, and they're happen to be here at Wales Certified. Hometown Joe Clarke and my goalkeeping buddy, Bill Irwin, ladies and gentlemen. Fellas, you are...
Kevin.
Yes, thank you.
Good morning.
Top of the day to you, right?
Yeah.
Do you still use top of the morning to you and the rest of the day to me?
I maybe when I get to Dublin with Joe.
All right. Well, I mean to tell you, I'm really fortunate to be in your midst today. But we're here for a purpose, and that is to really enlighten the world that you guys are about something. Distinguished men about town, coaching, playing, soccer aficionados. But now you're coaching something that nobody's ever heard before. Can one of you and both of you enlighten us all what we're talking?
Go ahead, Bill. You were the most recent one who was totally surprised by this.
Yeah. Well, it all happened. This World Medical Doctors soccer team, 3 of the players on the women's team, which I'm coaching, which is a 7-a-side team, I had the privilege of coaching before. 2 of them were at UP, and they won when we won the national championships. And one of them was on the women's national team, and she has Olympic gold medal and I think a World Cup winners medal, maybe a couple of each. So they were in need of a coach, and they come up with my name. So I agreed. You know, it was a great opportunity for me, and a challenge, because I'd never coached 7-a-side before.
Yeah.
And because the women is 7-a-side, and I know Joel will allude to his team in a little bit, but these are doctors from all over the country, and of all different disciplines too, and they're all dedicated to being better and to enjoy the game. And I had 2 practice sessions with them, one in Ann Arbor and one in Atlanta, and now we head to Dublin on the 4th of July for the World Cup of this medical doctors event. So I'm really looking forward to it. For me, it's a trip home, and it's a challenge for me to see what the rest of the world has when we get together in Dublin. So and the girls are really excited about it, and it seems to going to be a great event. I think it's held, maybe Joe knows a little bit more than me, but I think it's held every year. So I think last year it was in Australia, and then this year it's Dublin. So for me, a no-brainer, because it's a trip home, and and obviously to get to coach some very, very good ladies. So
yeah.
And they want to get better, and they want to learn, and obviously we're out there to win the whole thing. So that's about it from my side. So
yeah, well, with me, one of my former WashU players has been on the team for a few years, and as far as I know, this event, other than during COVID, has been going on for the last 15 to 20 years. Much to my surprise, and every other person that I've ever told, no one's ever heard of it. And the countries that are represented are illustrious soccer countries. You know, you'll have teams from Argentina and Brazil and Colombia and Spain and England, and of course the home country this year, Ireland, will be loaded, and Germany and Czechoslovakia. And so just going on the pitch with those teams is really kind of honoring and inspiring. And it's a very interesting experience, especially when you're telling, like the other day, I had some players that wanted to keep doing more. We were in Atlanta playing on turf in June, and it was hot, and they wanted to do more after we had just played a full game. And I'm telling them they don't have enough recovery. and it's not in their best interest physically. And meanwhile, I'm thinking to myself, I'm telling doctors to do the wrong thing. You know, but it is what it is.
Wow, man. Wow. It's, you know, how about that? Is that you guys, former players, they come up years past, hey, coach, we got something for you. We're getting the band back together, huh? I mean, wow. That's hats off to you that first that people would ask you, and then the next thing is that they probably told everybody, hey, listen, I got the coach for you, you know? So, way to go, fellas. And, I mean, you could have blew me over. You say 20-something years, Joe?
Yeah, the tournament's been going on for 20-something years.
Oh, man. Well, I got a friend, a Dr. Charles Skorumsky. He's the official psychiatrist for Wales Certified. He might be interested in this deal. A former coaching assistant with you, huh?
Yes, he was, and what a player he was. I seriously doubt he's going to want to do it now, but Chuck was a tremendous goalkeeper, and when we were in college, he played for the U.S. national team.
That's it. Yeah. We only get the best here at Wales Certified, so you two guys are in a good company.
Oh, I know I'm in good company with Joe and yourself.
It's pretty fun, Kev. It was shocking when we ran into each other out at the practice field. What are you doing here? Holy smokes.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think we went to breakfast that one morning. We went to breakfast, Joe, and it was a medical meeting.
Yes, it was. Yeah, we knew a lot about that conversation.
Oh, yeah. We sat in the corner, sort of hiding. But it's great to be in these, you know, all these doctors, you know, company. You know, I mean, obviously we all look up to doctors and what they've done, how to get there and stuff like that. But they're so, for me anyway, they've been so welcoming and enjoyable to be around, and you know, they're a lot of fun. You know, and that's, for me, that's what the game's all about, having fun. And these guys do take it, you know, they do have fun, and as Joe said, they are serious about it. They want to keep playing. You know, you can't, and we're dealing with doctors who are supposed to know a little bit better than us.
Yeah. They're competitive, they're humble, their demeanor and disposition every day is just outstanding. You learn so much from them, and it's great. It's a privilege. It's a definite privilege.
Yeah, and we're definitely in good hands, Joe, as I can attest to.
yes, we are.
I'm amazed since starting Wales Certified about just the actual character it takes to be a ball player. You two epitomize it, and you see it in others, that if you got it in you, you can get it out of you on the field.
You don't get distracted. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry,
Joe. Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
No, I didn't have it. As long as you keep your mindset right, you are so correct. You can't get distracted. You can't get emotional about things not going quite the way you expected. Keep your mind on your business and what you do when you're out there on the field, and then you have a great chance of playing near your top levels.
Nice.
I agree totally. You know, and I mean, and I'm sure, as Joe alluded to, on the men's side, you had, you know, a lot of these doctors played in college and stuff like that. So it's the same on the women's team. Some have played Division 1, some have played Division 3, 2, whatever, and you know, and some are still, you know, I had one player looking for somewhere to play, you know, but it's tough for these guys because they got families, but they want to play, and they, you know, and they're sacrificing a lot here to you know, to go to Ireland for, what is it, 8-10 days or something like that, and probably they're going to make a vacation out of it as well, but you know, they're dedicated, and they want, you know, they want to do well, and sometimes, as Joe said, we have to drag them off the field, so it's impressive, what they do, especially in their day-to-day high stress jobs. Some of these guys, I mean, I don't know what some of them do, but I know what they do, but I don't know what I know what they do, but I don't know what they do, because some are into cancer research and infectious diseases and stuff like that. It's just way above. I mean, it just goes flying over my head.
Yeah, they started it, Kevin, way back when, as I understand it, because they're busy at their jobs. It's so taxing. And then they come home and they want to be present with their families and do a good job there. And when they're interacting with other doctors, it's always brief and quick and busy. And they let life lead them, and they let their fitness get away. That's a generality, but some of them do that. And so they said, we've got to get this under control. This is something we like. Let's start playing soccer. It will motivate us to take care of ourselves, and it will get us outside of the offices where we can interrelate with other people that we have real connections with and establish great friendships. And that's what they have. They have amazing bonds between each other as doctors, and it's really improved the quality of their lives.
Wow. You guys may be starting a new trend. Instead of, hey, my doctor's on the golf course, my doctor's playing soccer. But in a real sense, since I've been a teenager, meeting people who play soccer, it's, we're only 6 degrees away from separation and all that. And I have recently, in the last several years, have any doctor I go to, they go through a rehearsal with me. I give them a job interview, to see if I want them as my doctor. I just don't say because I'm entrusting, and everyone to a person. So, my God, this is the first time I've ever been interviewed, for a position. So, have you found that you feel more comfortable being around doctors and you can open up a little bit more and expect more?
I think, I look at them, they're doctors, but they're all, for me, they're soccer players. Whether they're male or female, they're soccer players. So I look at them as a soccer player, and how can I impart some of my knowledge to help them become better as an individual and as a team. So I don't look at them as I can't say, okay, here's I've got 18 doctors here. I've got 18 soccer players. What they do off the field is entirely different. Kettle of fish, but I just look at them again as soccer players, and the way I would treat any player of any age or level.
Yeah, what's that? Well, that leads me to think: do you separate yourself from other human beings? That you're not the coach; you're just a fellow traveler in this world.
Separate? What do you mean by that, Kevin?
That okay, across the alley was a first time I ever heard as a husband and wife, and she would call him doctor all the time. Doctor, I said, he introduced himself as Al. I said, okay, well that's that's the way she worked with them and everything. And for as coach, I always, guys, I've always been around coach. I refer to him as coach. And I was wondering, when you're coaching, because I haven't been coaching, but if you coached so many decades that, you're looking at how to develop a player, how to develop a friend or something, and you and I would say, I think I would say, hey, Joe, don't be coaching me, man. You're just an Irish guy like myself. Does that make sense?
Well, that's a good point. I hope that I'm not always telling people how to do stuff. I don't think I am, because it's just not my style.
No, not at all.
But certainly when you're coaching, they're looking for you to help answer questions that they have and try to help them find the right direction to go. But in today's day and age, it isn't where you're the boss, you're the military boss, and you're telling everybody what to do, A, B, C, D, and that's how it's done. That's not how coaching is anymore, Kev. There's a lot more question answering, and you're trying to pursue the issues together, and you're kind of leading the way as the coach.
Wow.
Yeah, and instead, it's a lot of times, we would tell them, hey, you got to do this, this, and this, and now I start posing the question to them. Instead of giving them the answer, I want them to come up with the answer. I say, hey, what should you do in this situation? Instead of saying, hey, so they have to think about it and they have to come up with the answer. So they've got to get a little more thought into the process. And sometimes, like, whether it's these doctors or stuff like that, they have to sort of take away from their doctor's brain to the soccer brain, so and leave all that medical stuff behind and just get on with sort of putting on a different hat, and the game, as we, Joe and I know, the game has changed a lot, and I like to have a good personal relationship with the players, not authoritarian, but where they can come, they feel confident and free to come and talk to me and discuss the situation, So I like to have an open door, and people feel welcome to come and talk to me at any time, And a lot of times, and I know every soccer coach is different. I usually tell the players, look, just call me Bill, Yeah. And it's funny. I was listening to a podcast the other day, Roy Keane. And he was asking, I think, Neville, what does he say when he meets Alex Ferguson? He says, well, I call him boss. And Roy Keane says, well, hey, he's not your boss anymore. He's just Alex. Do you not call him Alex? So it's an interesting concept. I hadn't thought about that before till I heard that on the
Wow, yeah,
that podcast. So I me personally, I just like to be called Bill. Sometimes, hey, coach is fine because I'm terrible with names, so I might call him, hey, Doc, but then I'll have 20 people looking at me.
That is interesting. I don't know anything about Alex Ferguson except what I've read and things, but I can see where every single player would have called him boss.
Yeah.
And he was in control of that locker room and that pitch, and there were great players that kind of bucked the system a bit, and they found themselves wearing a different jersey.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So you stay with boss the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Wow. So I'm going to fish in the pond with you two guys. Can you give me Bill, can you give me a Joe Clarke story that is kind of unique to you, but that anybody and everybody that knows Joe around town would say, that's Joe?
No, I mean, I think we played against when I was at the University of Portland. I think we played St. Louis, and we would always meet each other on the recruiting trail, and anytime I met Joe, he was always cordial and friendly. So I mean, and it's a sort of a friendship that you develop by meeting the person and knowing how they are and how they get on and how they treat their players. And Joe was, from the outside looking in, he looked to be a very honest coach with his players, and really always friendly. Sometimes coaches just walk by you,
Wow.
But Joe always had time to talk and chat and see how things are going, and it was a really pleasant surprise when I saw him in Ann Arbor.
Yeah.
sort of one of those. What are you doing here? And he's probably thinking the same. What are you doing here? So
true. Yeah.
But it was great. It's great to be in his company again. And we had at these events they had a dinner each night, and it's great to be around and chat about some of the old times and what we're up to now, and etc. So no, Joe is a gentleman and somebody that you can rely on, and I feel I can call him a friend. Beautiful. Even though I don't see him very often, but I think I could call him a friend.
Beautiful.
Very, very true. Very true.
Yeah, that's the essence of Joe Clarke, St. Louis. Joe?
Well, Bill didn't really run into me much when we played because he was with the Timbers and I was with the Surf, and he was in goal, and I was always just covering people, chasing Willie Anderson, or I think it was Willie Anderson around, or this or that. But I can tell you, when we went to play them at the University of Portland, and Bill and Clive Charles, it was who coached their team, and we had practice the day before the game out on their beautiful pitch, and we were right on the sideline by where the teams would sit, and I said to Clive, so this is kind of indirectly about Bill, but I said to Clive, wow, aren't these stands kind of close to the side of the field? And hasn't anybody ever run into them? And Clive says, no, it's never been a problem. And they had been playing there for 15 years. And so we played that day, and I had a really good player on our team named Shane Battelle, and he's coming full speed over towards the bench, right where our sideline is, and isn't really able to decelerate, and he kind of jumps over our bench and jams into the wall. Oh. And in true Clive Charles fashion, he's sitting on his bench, he leans forward so he can see me, turns his head towards me and says, until now.
That's a typical response, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
And so missed.
Yes.
Here. Well, gentlemen, your busy schedule lays it up that we're well certified. Is going to give you the old 1-2. Whatever you want to say, to who you ever want to say it to, for as long as you want to say it for. Fellas, flip a coin. Go at it.
Go ahead, Joe.
Kevin, I'll say it to you. We are relatives somewhere down that tree, and you've done a great job here in St. Louis bringing different people onto your radio podcast and keeping the game front and center. So keep up the good work.
Thank you, Joe, cousin.
So this is definitely a family show now, isn't it?
That it is, and an Irish family show.
Yeah. Again, I've been on. This is the second time on, Kevin, and you've made me feel very welcome, and it's great being on with Joe. And I think this is great. You promoting this World Medical Doctors team, because I think it's a great thing, and it maybe opens up opportunities for other doctors that still want to play. That are soccer players. So, keep up the good work. I enjoyed listening to a couple of podcasts that you sent me. So, I will continue to do it and keep doing what you're doing. Let's keep this game alive. So, Thank you.
Yeah.
It's great talking to Joe. And Joe, I'll see you in a couple of weeks.
See you in a few weeks, Bill. Cheers.
We'll have a Guinness together.
That we will.
Right. Before you guys leave, what's the best way somebody to find out about the doctors of World
We don't have a clue.
Okay.
I think we've done a good job here trying to promote it, and then what we can find out maybe, and then give you a call, is that maybe you could put out another podcast if we call some of the people involved, and how can they, what's the best way for future players to get involved?
Yeah.
They just got to Google search it, and they'll find the World Medical Doctors USA website.
Got it.
Kind of go from there.
Got it.
Yeah.
And it's you got to have a real doctor. You got to be a real doctor. You can't. Be like the little rascals or something. Okay, so gentlemen, we gave food for thought. This was both all entertaining and informative, And I want to say, you're well certified, Joe Clarke, Bill Irwin. Well done. You're two together. You'll be a special place, a little corner in the Hall of Fame that you'll have your stuff right there. You'll forever be together.
Okay. Well, thanks, Kevin. Bye-bye. Thanks, Joe.
The best.
Thank you, Bill. Cheers.
Take care.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.